Hello, my friends. My name is Andrea from Magnetic Astrology, and today I want to speak to you about a common preconception that I hear very often, and that is astrology is not science based, so it is a hoax. It is woo. I don't think I don't see any value added through astrology. So first of all, I'll start by saying about my own background. Um, I have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in economic and business administration. I have a degree in marketing with London Business School. Um, and I have years of experience in the IT sector as a software implementation consultant. All of these background, all of these experiences that I'm sharing require reasoning, logical thinking, application, learning, uh, uh, failing, learning, loving, hating, loving again, and applying mathematical concepts. Um, so then we come fast forward to the question, um, what convinced me to go into astrology, um, since it's not science based and it's so opposed to science? Well, obviously, we cannot see things in such narrow perspectives of black and white. I think using this lens and justify them through science is the first mistake in our reasoning um, on this argumentation. Things are much more complex, and there are many more shades of gray in any complex issue that we would be discussing. Um, First of all, astrology is about planetary movements. So the movements and the relationship between planets have been noticed to have an impact in people's lives, starting with people's events in people's lives, or their actual consciousness, the way their body feels. So there is impact in how body um, um, is affected about planetary movements. And why would could this happen? Well, because everything around us is energy. Einstein people. Everything around us is energy. Um, so, of course, if big masses, big bodies with big masses have a movement or a particular rotation and interact with other big masses, that will have uh, influence over smaller bodies like people or other bodies like planet Earth. And these influences have been studied by scientists for many thousands of years. And I'm talking about, um, historically speaking, when mathematicians were not only mathematicians in the classroom, they were scientists, they were astronomers. The real, um, all the subjects were coming together: math, physics, mathematics, astronomy, astrology. Everything came together, and one person was studying an array of elements. Um, so astrology has history, um, and is connected to the very civilizations that we now consider the cradle of our civilizations. They have been adopted by Greek scientists, by Egyptians, by Persians, by the Indian societies or cultures as well. Um, you have to ask yourself the question, if something is a hoax or is a spam, how come it resisted for so long without marketing? Um, it means it must be widely adopted, or widely accepted in some form. Um, so I'm coming back to astrology is not a science. But if you refer to science as only in relationship to your mind, then I think that's the first element that you might be limiting when you want to describe astrology. Astrology, yes, has to do with the mind. As I mentioned, it's a consequence of the planetary movements, the interpretation of the planetary movements. But there is an additional element when it comes to astrology, and that is the science of the heart. So we're not talking only this about the science of the mind and about the but also about the science of the heart, which is much more advanced, which modern science is catching up in this understanding. Uh, One thing that I cannot guarantee you, people, I cannot guarantee to somebody that is watching to this video the following fact. I cannot guarantee you that astrology will not have an impact in your life. No. If you tap into astrology for your own personal interest, of course, and not only, what you will find out is that it will impact your perspective. And once it impacts your perspective over your life, it impacts your life. So it is a life-changing tool, subject that requires, in my opinion, to be honored, despite not yet being validated through science, because we're no longer really in a society that treats things or either negative or positive. There are so many elements in between, and in fact, if we think about it from philosophical perspective, nothing is negative or positive. Everything just is. Yeah, so that's what I really wanted to say. That's what I really wanted to bring to your attention, and I would be happy to read your comments. That would be very interesting, because I think this is a great conversation to start, and I would be delighted to be part of it. Thank you, people.